Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. How is everybody doing this evening? I have with me Richard from Iron Age Media and Mr. Daniel P. Riley. How is everybody doing this evening?
Doing great.
God,
feeling good, unlike the two of you, apparently.
You know what, sir? You know what? Okay, you don't need to start off by attacking us.
I just want everybody to know who's going to be carrying the show tonight. That's all.
I'm
going to be trying to bring
not
my
lying.
enthusiasm. I was going to say, I'm going to be trying to bring my enthusiasm level up from like a normal 2 to at least like a 3 out of 10.
At least a 3.
So
can you get a 3.5 for us, please, sir? Just,
I'll do what I can. I can't promise. When my child was born, it was probably like a 4.5. So, I mean, you're asking a lot there.
Yeah, wow. Okay, I got you. I wake up at a 6.
I know.
A 3.5 is a little bit more smiling in Richard's world.
Oh, fantastic. Well, why don't we say hi to the chat? We got Asher Bernert. He says, hail, stay based down in the chat. Swift Sword Rush, hello. 10K just down there. Christian Colebrook, how are you doing? Thomas Phillips. Catherine Francis is down there with us. Hello. Raul Neonzi. Fantastic. Love seeing all of the jumped on me again. You chat, slow down. Okay. We're tired. We just chill. It's fine.
Take it easy on poor Royce tonight, guys.
I know. Isidro Lopez Irwin says, let's go. Calvin Gulata says, don't ban me. I will try not to. Chris.
Poor Calvin.
Chris M, how are you all doing in the chat? It is so fantastic to see everybody here on this week's Iron Age Nights. Yes, and our guest is most likely attending to her family. And that is perfectly okay, because I would absolutely say that family is more important than this show for sure.
Family first.
Family first, absolutely. But let's not bury the lead on this one, gentlemen. I do want to talk about this a little bit tonight, and we may as well. Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman for almost 30 years, passed away at 66. Oh man,
too early.
Too young, too early. That was man.
Oh, I had a good manly cry earlier. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that one. I'm not gonna lie. That one was a little rough. I usually don't get. I usually it's I kind of celebrities died. I hope their family are doing well. But it's like, man, that way, man, he was a part of my childhood. Hell, he was a part of my adulthood. Mm-hmm. I've seen him in animated films, and it's just yeah.
A damn shame is what it is.
No, it is. It is. I heard it was cancer. I didn't even know he was suffering from cancer. But no, it is. It really is. And I think all of us can remember, the famous line, the I am the night, I am Batman, just from the animated series. I one of my favorite shows that he was in was obviously my favorite Batman series to this day, which is blasphemy to most people, but I loved Batman Beyond. I love Batman Beyond. I know it's not.
There's a lot more Batman Beyond fans than you might think.
No, and I don't disagree, but he was so good aging. I mean, and he aged up his voice to do that, and you just think of how incredible a guy is to be able to pull something like that off. And not only that, but while Batman Beyond was going, I think Justice League was going simultaneously, and so he was going back and forth between the older Bruce Wayne and the young Bruce Wayne, and just what an absolute fantastic inspiration to so many voice actors, so many children out there. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts or favorite episodes or favorite lines that Kevin Conroy impressed upon you?
Well, I mean, I also enjoyed Batman Beyond. Actually, I think it was kind of like when I got into it. I hadn't watched a lot of Batman up to that point, so for whatever reason, that one also stuck with me. But yeah, I don't know if I have any favorites in particular off the top of my head, but I've also I just had, it's not something I thought about in a while. I heard that he'd passed, but that was kind of not something I had time to reflect on yet today,
No. Well, no. And I heard about it before the show was starting, and I'm getting into a whole bunch of stuff. And ladies and gentlemen, our special guest has arrived. And may I give a very, very special welcome to the wonderful Katie Room of Periapsis Press. How are you doing, Katie?
I'm great. How are you guys?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. How are you doing?
Very good.
Good. That is awesome. I'm so glad that you joined us. I was able in my short time last night on Night's Watch, which is Shadiversity stream, to give you a little bit of a shout out and show off your website.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You guys are doing something. You and Richard are doing something that not a lot of people, I think, are thinking about, and it's really important to highlight websites like yours to show people, not just that there are creators out there, but there are people supporting the creators, and that's why I love what you're doing and why I wanted you on. And for those who don't know, Periapsis, am I saying that correctly?
No.
Okay, how do I say it?
Periapsis
Press. Okay. Well, I keep trying to tell people on the internet that I am an idiot and nobody wants to listen. So
real quick, explain the word for
sure.
cheap seats.
So Periapsis is
AKA Royce.
Periapsis is the point at which two orbiting bodies are closest.
Oh, okay. I actually have heard that before a very long time ago.
I always thought it was a cool definition.
Yeah.
And now I understand the planetary bodies in the background. That I knew. I was like, there's something here with the planets, and I was trying to figure it out. And if I would have just Googled, but no. So thank you so much for being here tonight. How has your week been?
Good.
Pretty good.
I've got kids with snotty noses, so.
Yeah, no, that's going around.
I saw your tweet earlier about one of yours missing a nap, and I was like, and in hindsight, I was like, actually that might have worked out well for the stream tonight. So your suffering is our gain.
They're both upstairs cuddling with Daddy right now. So
okay.
Oh, good man. Well, before we go on, Swift Sword Rush says, "Hail, Katie."
Hi.
So
hail.
Hail. Yeah, I know. It's different when you get your first
failed the test right off the bat.
I know. Shh, sir, don't be rude to our guest. So I have been thinking about this. Sadly, I'm highly ill prepared with a notebook, but I have been thinking about this, and there are a few questions that I definitely have in my mind, and I hope that my wonderful co-hosts do as well. How is it that you came to want to start writing book reviews online and build this website that you're building?
Sure. So when I graduated college, I started a blog, and I did sort of the generic whatever I happened to be reading, mostly trad pub, and I did responses to film and TV shows and stuff. And my aunt very diligently read every single one, like nobody else did. and I sort of burnt out on it and didn't really feel like I was doing anything worthwhile. When David published his first book in 2019, that's when I became exposed to sort of the indie sphere and realized that there was a giant hole, specifically coming at it from a reader's perspective, right? So when you're a reader and you hear that a book is indie, that it means things that are not
it has a certain connotation to it,
right?
Yeah, it does carry a and I feel the same way. I came from it in a very similar fashion.
Yeah, the best way to know that a book is of a certain quality level is from other reviews. But if you are browsing Amazon or you come to a book on Amazon, you never know with indie books the quality of the reviews. Did they get the right market, or are they all other authors trying to help promote? So, but that's all assuming that you found the Amazon page.
Yeah.
What you really need is a site where you can go and see stuff together and know everything there is good. And so that's why I wanted to do what I do. I'm really coming at it from a reader's perspective.
No, and it looks like, and the way that you break down your reviews. Oh, if you guys can hear the children in the background, I asked them to be quiet. That's not a thing. But yeah, I know.
That's
I know.
funny.
I know. I tried. Hey guys, sit down, watch a movie for daddy, be quiet. The door might come down the stairs with the children. We just don't know. It would be a fantastic live stream at that point. No, but one of the things that really yeah, absolutely. That I would not, because then I have to fix a door. Oh, dad life. But no, one of the things that really struck me, especially when I first came across your website, was it when I did? Yeah, it was when I did my Wednesday first, and I had seen you around and seen you posting, but I really hadn't taken a look at your website. Your reviews are absolutely incredible. And what I mean by that is that you go and you cover not just the book itself, the history of the books, the history of where that genre comes from, what and other elements that would tie into it. For instance, I will just pull up this one here, The Governess of Greenmere, just because that cover looks fantastic. But you cover in the top here, you talk about Britain 1899, the young orphan Ellis Cooper applies for a job as governess. Then it's Gothic fiction. You go into the English mythology, the female lead, the overpowered, the Christian myth, Gothic horror and heroism. And the way that you're breaking down all of these individual elements, that caught me, because I'm like, well, nobody's doing reviews like that anymore. Everybody's just doing this word salad of well, this is my opinion and I'm high and mighty and this, that, and you are not doing that in any way. You are coming at it from such an intelligent standpoint. How did you decide to attack it like that?
Sure. So part of it is my background. I have an English literature degree. So part of it is just me applying what I learned, how I learned to look at literature to indie stuff. Mm-hmm. And part of it is me trying to give readers an accurate feel for what to expect. I think that is something that a lot of indie authors struggle with, is trying to communicate what the flavor of their book is, especially when you get into sci-fi fantasy where there's a lot of subgenres. Governess of Greenmere, for example, has a 4-star review on Amazon where the the reviewer would have given 3 stars is what they said, but they liked the book. They ended up liking it, so they put 4 stars. But they
That's
didn't
a little bit
like,
of a nihilistic take.
they didn't
a lot
like
with
the way
reviewers.
that
Yeah, I can imagine.
They didn't like the way the prose was written. But if you went into it expecting sort of a gothic fiction feel, you would have expected that sort of more flowery language, less. It can come across, if you're not expecting it and it's not what you want, it can come across as a little, inflated,
Over
a little
dramatic.
trying to sound smart type, so I think it's important that readers understand what it is that they're getting into. And the way that I set up my website is such that you have very detailed reviews, and you can go and you can read that review and you will know going in what you're in for. But I also have, if you just click on reviews, you just get the covers. And if you hover over it, you get my first few lines about what the book is, and then you can go and you can find that book, and you were not spoiled at all. So
no, that's fantastic. I like that you attack it from that direction. And it definitely seems like you're coming from a direction of trying. If I heard what you said correctly, it seems like you're coming from a direction where you're trying to help the indie authors. You're trying to help readers who are looking at these indie authors understand what the indie authors maybe couldn't explain. Did I hear that correctly, or am I a little bit off?
Yeah. Well, if you are on Amazon and you come across a book by an indie author, maybe they did the cover themselves, maybe they did the blurb themselves, all of the editing themselves. And there's a really wide range of places where they can fall. But if you go to my website, you know that all of those are going to meet a certain level of quality. You know that they're not going to be attacking you or calling you stupid. And
that's something that all of us need.
And you know that there's going to be a good story that I was entertained by. So
no, that's
it's true. She kicked one of mine back.
Oh, good. Thank you. He needs it once in a while.
I actually, and you're going to have to tell me if I'm pronouncing it right. Jessedai? Jessedai. I actually liked it, right? That's the thing. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. But so I don't just kick back stuff that isn't of like a certain quality, right?
Yeah, I know.
Something that's really important to me is thematic elements. So I took issue with one of the thematic conclusions that I thought Daniel was making. So
yep, just one. And boom,
in other words, get wrecked, scrub.
For sure.
No.
Well, I do think that it's valuable to have certain, what do you want to call it, like tastemakers or trusted voices that people can go to, because one of the things that everybody does to a certain degree, and people often lie to themselves about it, but they offload their decision making to other people all the time,
Yeah.
And like, regardless of what the topic is, there's people who have looked into it a little bit, found somebody they think that they agreed with, and then from then on out, their opinion is now that person's opinion, effectively.
It's the foundational root at which the opinion kind of grows from. Yeah.
So I mean,
I've done it. I have absolutely done that.
And that's something that's
of
in indie circles when it comes to publishing is, unlike TradPub, we have very little curation.
Yes.
Very true.
That's what Periapsis Press has been bringing, and it's one of the things I thought was so cool when Katie and I first connected, and she joined my laureate group, was that she had enough of a discerning eye to curate this content in a way that was engaging. And then I was impressed when she did kick mine back, because I was like, man, okay, so there's not even any like, you're my pal, I'm gonna do this for you going on. She straight up is ready to analyze. I went, fair play, I'm in, this is cool. We'll try again with the next one.
Yeah, that has been, I think, the toughest part about trusting other people's reviews, because I go all the time to other people's reviews to see what people in the group are reading and what they like, because the most important thing for readers is to keep them in books, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you find writers who like other writers' stuff, then 10 to 1, their stuff is going to appeal to their readers. So right. I like to sort of build out in circles like that. But trusting other people's reviews is tough, because you're never sure especially if their review is, hey, I liked this book, blurb. You're never really sure how much did they actually read. Did they read more than the blurb? And that's not to throw shade at anybody, but going back to what we were saying about trusting other people, something that trusting other people to do curation for you, something that would be great would be if one of those big conservative people who are like, we're all our conservative creators, would say, well, here is a reviewer that I trust. You guys should look at them, because I don't have time to read, right?
No, and that's something that I think twofold is something that I feel. The one, trying to read and come up with because I apparently I'm getting into this now. Never thought I would. I am absolutely the scrub when it comes to reading on this show right now. That's 100% the truth. But as somebody who is reading books and thinking about them critically and thinking about them analytically, and going to be doing more and more reviews of them as they get through them more, and having done a couple of graphic novel reviews on the channel, coming at it in a way that's not overly flowery or overly negative, that's a fine line to walk.
It really is.
And then what you said is, where are those, those big conservative guys, or those big, if not conservative, I mean, not crazy people who are just like, hey, I don't agree with the crazy people, but and so when I say that I trust this reviewer, here they are. I think that's something that, and that's why I'm so glad that I found you and Richard, because now I can be like, okay, these people are cool, and I can tell you guys, if you want to look for good stories that are going to have good substance, like, you can go to their websites, which, it's and not only that, but like, to cover videos on my channel now, like, if I'm stuck and I just really can't come up with ideas, I'm on your guys' websites going, what are they covering? What are they talking about? What can I, for lack of a better term, content steal from you guys? Obviously, I'd give you guys a shout out, but
it's a symbiotic relationship. We'll call it
exactly.
That way.
Yep.
I'm a leech. Get it right. But
I don't think any indie authors are going to be complaining.
Well, and I would hope no, and it's one of those things that, where are those big voices saying, hey, because they all say it, but I don't feel a lot of the big voices mean it. What do you guys do? Am I off base on that, or?
Well,
I probably have a different opinion than the rest of you guys.
I was going to say, I think that there is sort of there's a breakdown in a couple of areas. I think that one problem you run into is that any kind of online, especially within politics, whether it's left wing or right wing, just any niche community, you're going to have people who are there to make money, okay, and that's their primary goal. And then you're also going to have people who are, let's say, like true believers or something like that. Well, the probability of somebody being a, true believer, conservative, or something like that, you know what I mean, really holding these ideals and also being into indie publishing is already pretty small. Okay. And then furthermore, you have to think that, like, what's the likelihood that they're going to read something, like they're going to read some of your reviews and then like them and be like, okay, this is somebody I want to promote, and also think to themselves, well, does this person actually want to be promoted by me? You know what I mean? So
that is, I actually didn't think about
like
that
angle.
of
There's a lot of pieces that have to kind of click into place. And so, I mean, like, I think even Razorfist made a comment about like somebody was talking about Iron Age, stuff at Iron Age creators on one of his live streams. And he was like, oh, you could check out Iron Age .media. And I was like, oh, that's great. And the person, I think, kind of had a follow-up of like, but specifically what are you enjoying? He's like, I don't know. I mean, like, I haven't really been following that much attention to it. I'm like busy with my own thing, And it's like, I could totally, I don't know. I think some people might view that negatively, but I'm like, I don't blame the guy at all. I'm just trying to do this thing. And it takes up enough of my time, and I'm like trying to read through short story prompts, and it's it's just a lot.
Don't know
lot
how
to
you
keep up
do it.
with.
I don't.
Well,
know how you do it.
It's I don't think it's that bad overall, but there's just a lot of working pieces that have to line up.
I think I am like 9 books behind right now.
It happens. Yeah. I'll share a brief story to explain why my opinion's so different from everybody else. I had some email conversations with Andrew Clavin from the Daily Wire, who is an author himself, as well as a podcaster.
I will be right back. I have to go live that dad life. Give me just a moment.
Wrangle children. And I reached out to him because I was interested in potentially working with the Daily Wire's publishing side as it was opening up. So I thought, he's an author. He probably knows. So I sent him an email. I said, I apologize because this is not the way to do it, but I also heard the way you got yourself started, barging into people's offices and shoving your book in their face. So I'm going to do it to you. I hope you don't mind. I'd really like to talk to somebody about, possibly publishing with the Daily Wire books. And he kicked me back an email about an hour and a half later, which I really surprised the hell out of me. And he goes, I have no idea. He said, my stuff's done through Mystery Press right now. I don't work with the Daily Wire books. I don't have anything to do with that side of the company. So I really couldn't tell you.
Huh.
And I want to give you more information, but I don't have it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and that changed my opinion on all of this, because have you ever walked into a convenience store looking for a specific drink that you expect to be in a specific section of the refrigerator, and you don't see it there?
Yeah.
And you think it's out of stock, and you walk right by it in another shelf and don't even notice until like 3 days later because they decided to rearrange. And then you're like, has it been there the whole time? That's how it really is in this sort of situation. These guys, they are looking for conservative entertainment and media and whatnot, but the circles that they travel in, sometimes they don't even notice it there. And like Richard was saying, if someone puts you on the spot and goes, okay, what should I be looking for? I don't know. and that doesn't help.
Yeah.
That brings up a really good point. There is so the demographic that is readers is constantly shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest problem is that there's not a clear off-ramp from mainstream traditional publishing to indie publishing. So right now people are leaving traditional publishing and going nowhere.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we've got to figure out some way to connect them.
That is that and that's the question, right? Briefly, if I may interject. Actually, it's Talking Pulp Press. Don't beat me to the punch. This is Rob. He says money for books and decent beer. Also, hi Katie for $10. Thank you so much. That's Rob Rhimes, the writer of Dan the Destructor and the Barbarians of the Storm.
Howdy, Rob.
So
hope you. I was gonna say, hope you're feeling better tomorrow morning than you were last Saturday.
We went to bed at 2. You guys left, and he and I drank until 2:00 in the morning. And then I had to get up at 7:30 to take my kids to bowling league.
That was just a silly decision, my friend.
I had so much faith for my Saturday. And then I got home from the bowling league and I was like, I'm not doing anything. And I literally just sat there and I zombied out on the new Modern Warfare. I was like, I'm sitting here and I'm going to hope that I stay breathing.
I can no longer brain. I has the dumb.
Dude, it was bad.
I was going to say, Katie, I actually had a question for you, which is, you said that you kick back a book. Does that mean that, generally speaking, you're only going to find reviews for books that you personally enjoyed and you liked? As in, there probably won't be any negative reviews on there. They just not appear.
There's no negative reviews.
Okay.
That being said, there are books on there that I personally did not enjoy to the level of like, if I was going to sit down and go on Amazon and hit 5 stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am confident enough in my own ability to understand why I liked a book and why other people like books to be able to explain this is a feature of a book and it's not my go-to feature, but I know it is some readers' go-to feature.
Mm-hmm. How do you attack that? Because I feel like I've run into that in a couple of instances, and I'm getting into this, and that's why I'm really excited to have you on, is because I get to learn how to do what I'm doing better. And so how do you attack that?
Teacher.
Like, how do you go about that? This isn't particularly my thing. Do you just, because I can turn the analytical brain on and just go at it, but do you have a certain methodology? Or do you just analyze it to the bones?
So I'm sure you guys have seen where authors tweet their negative reviews, or like Fiona Wolf will tweet a negative review from a book that she was browsing and found. And it's like, it uses a bunch of ists and phobia and she's like, thanks, sold, right? Like the negative review tells her enough about the way that the book is going to be that she's like, this is going to appeal to me. So if I am sitting with a book and I've just finished it and I'm like, this was super sparse on setting, the description is like minimal, really heavy on the action, I know that that's not my favorite, but there's definitely a market for that. Okay. So I try to think about like, okay, I didn't like it for this reason, but are there readers that are looking for that feature, right?
Mm-hmm. So, I like that. That's really good.
I have a question. Do you are you cheating at all? Do you talk to the authors, or do you just get the book and then give your opinions?
So, I don't know what you mean.
Well, I'm just saying, I saw somebody
Can I
about,
give
like,
you money and you will give me a good review?
Well,
That's what I meant.
no, that's not what I'm asking.
No,
What I'm
I know,
saying is I saw somebody make a comment to the effect of, and I've heard this many times before, which is it's like it's better to talk about dead authors because then they can't tell you that your opinions are wrong. You know
Sure.
what I mean? So I'm basically asking, do you talk to the authors at all during your reviews and get kind of a sense of the themes that they were going for, or do you just look at the book and then, you know what I'm saying? Because there's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
do.
like you could take the review either way. I'm not trying to throw any
Yeah.
shade here.
So I do. This kind of speaks to how horrible the whole industry is for indies. I do have people reach out and say, "Hey, would you review my book?" And I say, "Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and send me a review copy if you're willing." I have never ever had anyone say, "No, I'm not willing to send you a review copy." If they were like, "No, I'm not really willing to send you a review copy," I'd have been like, "Okay, I put you on a list." You know,
Yeah.
because I do have money that I spend on books. But I have more than once had people reach out afterwards and be like, "Okay, how much do you charge?" So there are definitely reviewers who
Oh yeah.
charge people.
Oh, yeah.
And I do not do that.
Wow.
So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we
I had somebody ask me how much it costs for an article, and I'm like, I don't think you understand the the website here. You write the article, you say whatever you want to say, and I say that you're the one who said it, and I post it. Like it's not, so I'm like the completely opposite end of the spectrum here, which, I think what you're doing is very important. I'm trying to, my goal is not necessarily be a hug box, but be kind of, I don't know, just a dragnet as much as I can. And I'm going to start tightening things up because I've had some articles that are basically just a blurb off the back of the book. And I'm like, it's the night before this is supposed to go up and you're going to take forever to respond. So I'm not going to try and get this fixed, but
there's only so many hours in a day.
Yeah. So
sadly,
it's like, well,
sadly,
it's your article. So, you can do whatever you want there, but I'm going to probably get a little bit more picky in the future. But, I have
there is something to be entertaining for the audience, kind of no matter what we're doing. I think there is a certain level of, for lack of a better term, showmanship, whether it's an article or a review or, but just a basic blurb on the back. There something a little bit more enticing to wet the whistle, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I think is necessary.
Well, and actually writing reviews is, that's something I've thought about trying to do. And I'm just like, it takes a lot of energy. It takes much more energy for me to sit down and write an article than it does to, rework part of the website or something. And so, that's where I've tried to focus my attention, focus my energy. But, with reviews like yours, I think that's it's very good. Like I said, it's important to have tastemakers and to have people who, because I don't claim to have good taste. You know what I mean? That's another thing. So
drink better beer than Guinness. That's how you have better taste.
Yeah, well.
I'm sorry.
The drink that eats like a meal. He's getting all those essential nutrients in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's when you drink a Guinness, it's like drinking cake.
He'll outlast all of us just on Guinness.
Yeah, exactly.
To answer your actual question, just want to make sure that I do. I don't tend to reach out to authors about stuff prior to posting my review. I've actually had authors say things like, "Oh wow, I didn't think of it like that." So mm-hmm. I try in my review to be pretty like open-ended about whether or not the author intended a certain message or not, unless I'm very confident.
Yeah,
that is, and I'm so glad that you said that because I wanted to comment on it, but it seemed the conversation had had moved past it. But that's one of the things that I absolutely hate about the way that a lot of the modern, I guess the modern left treats stories is writer's intention. And one of the things that and you see it all the time, whether it's taking, trying to essentially trying to put words in somebody's mouths. We see it with people trying to do it on Twitter. We see it with people trying to do it in books and movies. And, well, you meant this. Well, no, I didn't. Well, yes, you did. And I say that you did. And that's one thing that absolutely is just disgusting to me. And I hate it when people do it to me. And there's nothing that will piss me off more than somebody telling me that you said this thing. No, I didn't. I said this thing. If I need to clarify, because one, I either misspoke, or two, you're a moron, we can parse that out later. I can clarify. But have you ever had an author come to you, or have people ever looked at you and said, that wasn't the author's intention? Why did you frame it like that? And have you ever had to make a correction around those things?
So not on the website. When I posted my review of Gun Magus by N.R. LaPointe, I mentioned something in a comment on another review site, Upstream Reviews.
I've heard of that.
Because they said that he didn't have any political messaging. And so I said that I didn't agree and thought that he had a little bit of a libertarian bent. And then he jumped in and was like, I didn't do that. Okay, I'm not going to get into it with the author on this other person's review site.
Yep.
Would love to pick his brain about that, because I'm pretty sure that I could present evidence for why I felt that he was doing that. But,
that's actually kind of what happened with her and I over G Sedai. We just had the conversation in private.
Yeah, tell me more about this really terrible book.
Yeah. One moment. Frequency Studios comes in, drops $30 on the bar top. That is the wooden background behind.
But not
us,
a comment,
gentlemen. But no, he drops $30, tips the bartender, and bounces. So thank you so much, Frequency Studios. I appreciate you. He is a gold member on Gilded, which is fantastic.
Yes,
because he supports me over there. So that is absolutely fantastic, and I love everybody who is in my Gilded. So I've got the best Gilded on the planet, period, and it's not even close. Sorry, Richard.
No, I was just dunking on Daniel. And then you interrupted right whenever we were going to try and diffuse the tension, but
no. We can go back to here's the Frequency Studios for $30 says please dunk on Daniel.
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
Oh goodness!
As I say, if we'll get to insults at 30, I mean, you should see what the bigger numbers roll in here. It's going to get ugly.
Oh no!
It can get very ugly.
Yes. Okay. So finish your dunk, good sir.
Oh no, that was it. I was just giving a little bit of heckle in here. So
well, it was an interpretation thing that we had to talk about. It's because for those that have actually read the book, the story has two perspectives going on: that of the samurai warrior character who feels compelled to defend this young girl, and the young girl who has something of a twisted upbringing and has different feelings about the situation. I brought in that while Gabriel had no physical attraction to an underage girl, the underage girl had a sort of, knight in shining armor thing going on for Gabriel. And thank you, Vicky. I did that for interpretive purposes. People can read into that in whichever way they want to. They can look at it from the perspective of Gabriel protecting this, what he feels like is the last shred of innocence in this young girl. People can look at it from the angle of Hannah. And being rescued in a classic movie sort of sense, and the feelings that would come from that. And I did have a few reviewers mention that. One of them even said I liked how it unfolded and that it didn't become sexual between them at all in the story.
That's refreshing. I'm gonna have to check this out now.
That was the whole idea of setting up that dynamic. But I did reference Hannah's feelings and thoughts, especially towards the very end of the book after the major conflict had resolved, and Katie's interpretation of it. She can tell you herself. We had a conversation about it, and she's like, I just not no. And I was like, fair enough.
Mrs. Room, how did you destroy the young man's heart?
What I told him was that I thought it was that element of the story confused the thematic message, particularly because of her upbringing and the way that she was sexualized in that environment that she is being rescued from. To pull that out into all the way to the end, I have felt muddied the waters with the theme of the redemption arc and the moving towards someplace better. So, and obviously this is the first in a series, so things are going to happen in a more long.
In all honesty, I could have gotten away with keeping some of that stuff out for the second book, but I felt like I wanted to lay the brickwork right at the end there so that a transition when I did work in the series would flow very seamlessly from one book to the other and still be thematic to the characters. But it may have been a little oversharing, and that happens all the time.
Well, that's interesting, and I still haven't finished the book because I'm frantically trying to read through prompts right now. But
good luck.
Yeah,
I don't envy you, good sir.
He doesn't have to worry about mine anymore because I've stopped in order to wrap it all up. So
well, I don't know. That's not really a good thing. I'd rather have to worry about those. But what I was going to say is, I think that's actually probably, it's also a benefit to authors, because I could totally see, as I'm not an author, but my wife is, and so I've
use that excuse.
And no, but I've just heard her talk about it, and I could see exactly what might have happened, which is like you have a theme that you're going for, but you also have character arcs, and that does, like, just offhand, having read literally just the introduction, so I don't have much of the familiarity with the story, but that does seem kind of like a falling action kind of character arc to maybe deal with. So I think within the position of the story, it would be an easy kind of decision to make. So I think that's interesting, and it's good that it's good to discuss, even if there's disagreement on these things. But I don't want to harp on Daniel too much here. I'm just
go for it. Even I said to her, I'm like, I don't care. Go ahead. You can kill me in a review if you really
I think it's a good example of the integrity of the reviews that we can expect from Periapsis Press.
So I'm going to ask a wildly general question because this is how my brain works. But you guys, through your conversation, I need to ask this because I'm learning, and you guys get to be my guinea pigs and or teachers, whichever one. Just pick one. It's fine. But my question to you is, between character and story, okay, obviously there has to be a balance, okay? And I find that sometimes when I'm reading something, that balance can either tip one way or the other. And if it goes too far one way or too far the other way, it's just too much for me and it starts to lose me. What are the critical elements of keeping that balance? And at what point does it go too far for you guys? For me, one of the things that I can say is when there's too much dialogue to the point where it's, and I would call this more character than story, but when there's so much dialogue that it turns from just dialogue to monologuing. And it eventually just gets to that point where it's just this character going on and on and on, and it falls off that cliff where they lose the story and things like that. That's just a brief example. So where's that sweet spot? What do you think makes that sweet spot, and what tips you over the edge one way or the other to where it just loses you? Is that too general? I'm sorry.
No, it's a great question. It's going to be different for each of us, the answer, but it's a great question.
No, that's why I asked it. I felt really smart.
I think it depends on the story. It depends on the genre. Mm-hmm. It depends on reader expectations. Because if I'm going into a story expecting a more character-driven plot, I'm not going to mind so much. The one thing that, like, where it's like I got to check out is when you can kind of feel that the author wants you to feel a certain way about a character, to the point where you're like, okay, just let me make my own opinion. And usually that's not in dialogue, that's in like
exposition.
Yes, usually adverbs are the tell there. But otherwise it comes down to expectations for me.
Should we shout out to Joshua Lysa, Katie?
Oh no, you guys are attacking people that aren't even on the stream.
No, shout out, total shout out.
And with that, JVP Music, who I actually just covered on the channel a few days ago. So the writer's intention is the perfect way to paint modern day media. The writer's intention should always be to connect with their audience, nothing else. For $10, thank you so much, JVP Media. What do you guys have to say? I absolutely agree. I think that's every artist's, and not just novelists and graphic novelists and painters and but even just as a musician myself, that's one of the greatest things that I could ever say is when I was on stage and I made that connection with people in the crowd. It's just whatever was going on, whatever vibe that was, that connection is there are two things in my life that topped that feeling, period. And the first was seeing all my children be born. The second was falling in love with my wife. Those are the two things that beat that, as somebody who creates, as somebody who pours their heart and soul into something, even if it's a room of 6 or 7 people, or if it's a couple of readers, when you make that connection, you're on cloud 9. And everybody should strive for that. And I think that is something that maybe a lot of people in the modern day don't necessarily have. It seems like there might be
a lot of
clout chasers now.
I think they try too hard.
I was going to say, I actually think, I think that connecting with an audience is important, but, and necessary. But I also kind of think that sometimes, there's a good argument to be made that authors should also be creating what they themselves are compelled to make, and trying to hone that to the best that they can be. So, and I think that one of the critical things to that is finding an audience and then kind of playing off of them to a certain degree, because you can have, I think, regardless of what medium you're talking about, I think you can have an audience that sort of drives you in one direction. And if it's not in the direction you want to be, then, maybe you should correct. But, I think it requires a level of self-awareness.
Yeah, it really depends on the individual author's intentions. Like, we can talk about the writer's intention should be to connect with their audience. That really all depends on if the writer's intention to connect with the audience is for the attention, for the connection with the audience. Some of our more prolific and more amazing literary creators out there, be they poetry or actual novels or even nonfiction, they weren't looking for an audience. They were just getting it out of their head. It was in there and it was tormenting them. And they needed to bring it out into the world. And the audience came from that because it was such a raw sensation that was brought onto the page and then put in front of everyone. So I don't
have you
I
all
don't
ever
particularly
experienced
write
that?
for people.
Have you all ever experienced that? Have you ever that visceral thing that's just clawing its way out inside your? Have you guys ever, in anything in life, have you guys ever experienced that?
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's really, really cool.
Almost every chronicler's prompt it's taken me about 3 hours of thinking about the picture that Richard put up, and then the story is in there and it needs to come out. Like, it's trying to bleed its way out of my eyeballs if I don't type it out onto the document.
He thinks about you so much, Richard. His eyeballs bleed. Did you hear that?
No, I was thinking about the prompts. I was like, man, I hope my prompts don't actually do that to most people. But like,
I'm weird. I go out to my local park every day for my writing sessions, and
for $5,
I probably
thank you
look
so much,
like a madman. Frequency Studios. I probably look like an absolute lunatic sitting out on a park bench in the bright sun, hunched over his laptop, going.
Do you please tell me you don't wear a trench coat?
No.
Or dude, you gotta wear the Tolkien coat. You gotta wear like the Tolkien coat when you do it. That way people think
I did go out looking like what my daughter described as whiskey granddad a couple of times.
I love your daughter. I don't know your daughter, but I love her. That's amazing.
Yeah. I had a work shirt on, so it's the short sleeve white button up. I had suspenders on, like the whole 9 yards when I went out.
Okay, that's
and she's like, why are you look like whiskey granddad? I'm like, what the hell is whiskey granddad? So she had to show me, and I went, all right, I'm in. Well, whatever.
Suspenders are a flex, man. I expect to see him next stream. Okay.
I had him second stream we did, I think. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
With Christopher, with Chris Moonlight, or
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Huh.
I feel like I would have.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of days between this day and that day.
Yeah, because last week I was rocking the "We Are Not Descended from Fearful Men" shirt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The week before that was the white button down and the suspenders. Yeah.
Man, I think I was sick that week, so that's going to excuse my lack of mockery. Do it again next week, though, and I promise I won't.
So Katie, really quickly, to get back to our honored guest, gentlemen.
Yeah, let's get back on track.
Girls, you're both pretty.
Yeah,
let's get back to our
I don't have a whole lot to contribute with men's fashion. I'm sorry.
Men don't have a lot to contribute with men's fashion. So
I was going to say, I don't see how you can do any worse.
I wear black with black and jeans. That's what I got. So what was one of your favorite reviews that you have put up on Periapsis Press?
Favorite review or favorite book?
I don't know. Favorite review, book / I don't know. You pick. Dealer's choice. You go for it.
Probably.
What's one you are most proud of? I guess would be a better that.
It's hard because they're all positive reviews, right? So
yes.
It's like I liked them all. One that was really fun for me was the first Drosselmeyer book. That's Curse of the Rat King by Paul Thompson. Um, happened to be sitting here. I'm in the midst of redoing this space to be my streaming space, so I've got a whole bunch of stuff.
I was actually going to say I actually really liked this setup that you have going on. No, it's really good. Like, I know, no BS. I love the wooden background. I love the real wooden background and the artwork. Like, seriously. I can also see the pop filter too, so I know that you're actually using a decent microphone. Which,
yes,
as an audio nerd, as soon as you came in, I was like, "Oh, good! I won't have to deal with horrible audio. It's fantastic."
Yeah, David is a musician type, so that was one of the things. So if we were going to start streaming, you've got to get a good mic.
Yes, he is not wrong. That is one thing I learned about YouTube and streaming. People will suffer bad video. They will not suffer bad audio. It's just a thing.
When I first put up my interview with George Alexopoulos, David listened to me. He was like, "You want an interview with George Alexopoulos? You don't have mono. You've got to fix that." So we took it down right away and re-uploaded it. So
yeah, I enjoyed that interview. You said it was your second interview, so you've spoken.
Where is this? And where?
On my website.
Wait, where?
Not on my website, on my YouTube.
And now you have.
You need to make an article about it, about your YouTube.
Are you not subscribed to her YouTube? Right.
I keep telling people I'm an idiot and nobody listens.
Yeah,
how dare.
We had a conversation, he and I, and
YouTube channel.
I was like super nervous and completely starstruck and forgot to ask him to introduce himself. And then like the first 5 or 6 questions that I asked, I'm just like like a complete dork. And he was horrified when I told him that. He was like, "No, like I'm like a regular person."
He's a super humble guy.
He like very graciously agreed to sit down with me second time and do it better. So some of the stuff towards the end of that first interview is a lot better. And so I'm planning to release a little bonus video of that. But
wonderful. What is your YouTube channel? I can't shill your YouTube channel if you don't tell me what it is.
I'm sorry. I believe that if you type in YouTube/channel/@Periapsis Press, it will come up.
The trick is spelling it correctly.
Right. Isn't that the new handle thing?
Oh yeah, God, the handle thing. I have not even dove into that yet. Ladies and gentlemen, she doesn't even have 100 subs yet. So we're going to hopefully try to fix that. Everybody down in the chat, you go sub and you subscribe. No, seriously, yes. because we need because you're doing things that are not being done by a lot of other people. And that's important for what's going on right now. Like I always say, we have to build this culture for our children. We have to do this. And I'm going through books and reading them. And I've got to find, I want to find a decent collection where I go, oh, hey kids, here you go, and find what I'm really looking forward to is actually George Alexopoulos's children's books that he's writing, because I would love to be able to put something in my kids' hands that my younger children can learn to read with, because my wife, we homeschool. So, that's one of the things that I'm looking for. And sadly, some irony. Actually, you know what? I would put Brian Asher's Assassin of Malcozé in my kids' books. There's some mild cussing in there, but let's face it, I'm a construction worker, and my kids have heard Daddy say way worse. So especially when I'm really heated on Call of Duty, we're like, hey, Dad, what's that? Don't say that. Okay. But I'm really excited for what you're doing. And like I said, that's why it's so important to make sure that if you ever come back here, you shill your stuff on my channel, because that's what you are supposed to do.
And do it better than I do.
Yeah, and we've just started, right? Like, so it's not like the George Alexopoulos interview is my first like really polished thing, because I just don't have a whole lot of time to sit down and record intro, record outro, figure stuff out, because I'm trying to read and do reviews as my primary thing. So I do a lot of like just streaming and talking, and I intend to do some shorter like bit reviews on my YouTube eventually. We'll see. Maybe I'll get into that this coming year. TJ Marquis does a really nice job, and I feel like if I try
TJ is a fantastic supporter of everything that's happening right now. So
is he on YouTube?
I don't.
Yeah, he is.
He is on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I see him a lot on Twitter.
Really beautiful short reviews. They're like 5-6 minutes, and I feel like if I try and do stuff, it's just not gonna stand up.
Yeah, he's crazy artistic though. Like, I paid somebody to do the intro and outro stuff for my whimsical review and interviews. It's like, I have no clue. Do this for me, please.
I legit say a prayer before every video, and I put some thought into what I do before I do it. I say a prayer before the video. I do my best to pick a good intro line and go. Oh, and the thought bots are back. So let's see if I actually block.
Say, chat, look out, take cover, dive.
I may or may not have banned Calvin last week because he got really. His name was very close to a thought bot.
Yeah, I was in the chat at the time, I think.
That was hilarious. Oh my gosh, you were there. That's so fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
no,
said
oh wait, there's Calvin's name. I gotta ban him. Calvin, goodbye.
There he is.
He's just
duck and weave, Calvin.
Duck and weave. No, serpentine. No, it's doing the YouTube thing is a totally different beast than anything that I thought it would be, because I've been on YouTube since 2017 with different channels, different formats with this channel, trying to really figure out what works. And the one thing that I didn't think was going to work was just being me, because I am a very, very different individual. I have been told my entire life. I don't attack subjects the same way that people do. I have this way of walking around the subject and then getting to like my point. I want to make sure that I cover everything, and most people just don't have the attention spans for that. And sometimes I get really excited and really loud, and sometimes I'll cuss like a sailor, and other times I'll get, philosophical and all of this stuff. And I watch a lot of YouTubers and they go, oh, they have this style, and that's like what you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to have one style and stick to that style. And it turns out just be you. So literally, like, just be you, boo. That's it. That's all you can do,
Exactly.
I also think that you have a very high level of enthusiasm, like I was talking about earlier. So I think, people
even when exhausted,
engage with that. Yeah, pretty
I am
well.
dog tired right now.
If I just like last night, I was recording another little weekly review, and it was like basically midnight, and I was like, I'm gonna do this thing. I got to do this. And I was like, okay, I'm doing as good as I can.
On YouTube,
or I was like, I think I got through it, and then I watched it in the morning, and it was like, oh no, this is terrible. Like, I was rambling, and then I re-recorded it in the morning, and it was like, instead of 8.5 minutes, it was like just under 6 minutes. So I like cut out a fair amount of just sort of sitting there and going, and even then I still did quite a bit of it. So yeah, it's I don't know, as somebody who's not inclined towards recording videos or anything like that.
It's wild.
It's difficult. It's a very different medium than writing. And yeah, I think I think live streaming is a much more kind of organic way, because it's really just a conversation, and then you have a bunch of eavesdroppers out there in the comments. And
hear that, chat? You're a bunch of eavesdroppers.
Our favored eavesdroppers that we like very much.
Whoa.
Yeah, walk that back. Walk that back.
Boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Well done, good sir. Well done, good sir. You hear that, chat? Your favorite eavesdroppers, not like the rest of the eavesdroppers. You're the good ones.
Yeah, the time you have to put into creating videos as opposed to doing a live stream. Like a live stream can run for 3 hours and we're all just babbling and being goofballs and having a good time. But like I was doing 45-minute nice. I was doing 45-minute interviews with individual authors on one day, and then I had to spend an hour to an hour and a half doing repetitive takes of my review part because I kept screwing it up. I'll actually go back and watch my own stupid mistakes over and over again and laugh at myself. Otherwise, I couldn't get comfortable doing it.
One thing that I have done is, well, I figured out I have the gift of gab a long time ago because my parents used to tell me to shut up a lot. I never wanted to. And so but one thing that's very, very therapeutic for me, because I got a lot of thoughts go through. And actually, I want to actually ask if this is something that you guys do, and like, what's therapeutic for you? For me, like, because of everything going through my mind during the day and how quickly I tend to think, I talk openly to myself. Like that drive into work and drive home from work, if I'm not on the phone with like my wife or one of my best friends or something like that and talking with them, like I'll just sit there and just shout at the windshield and just get my thoughts out. And I will have full-blown conversations with myself and work through them. And I'll go, wait a minute. No, I didn't say that. No, wait. And like I outwardly work through my own thoughts. Like that's my process. Like talking is the thing that I do, even when I'm alone. Like people will look at me like, dude, are you talking to yourself? I'm like, yeah, you don't. And they're like, and they look at me like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, no, you're weird. So what's that thing for you guys? What's your therapeutic thing that gets your thoughts more clearly in your head? And I will start with our honored guest, Mrs. Katie Room. Sorry, I better say that correctly.
Surprise, it's writing.
No, good. Is there a muse that you have to writing, or is it just
if I'm trying to think about something, I write it down. This is all of my reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
brain dump, right?
If I don't write it down, I don't remember it later. So
is it free form, or is it thoughtful, or is it just it comes to my mind and the words just hit the page?
No, she's got it set up.
She does.
So like bullets. You can see where my daughter spilled water on it. Like so that's just
points
my
and thoughts.
Bullet thoughts, and then later when I go through and I write my review, I would pick out, okay, this is setting, and I'd write setting next to it. This is character, write character. These ones are plot.
You mentioned bullet notes, and like that was literally the review that I did of Shadow of the Conqueror. That's literally all it took. And I draw arrows from one point because as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh wait, no, that didn't go there. This one switches here. And I love bullet notes. Bullet notes are fantastic.
You can tell where I've been thinking for a while because everything from where I was thinking up for like a paragraph will like have like doodles over the letters, you know, where like I'm filling in and I'm like, okay, do I think this or is it this way? And then once I get going again, then it's all clean and clear. And so yeah, writing is definitely how I process.
Mr. Daniel P. Riley, what What's your thing? What clears up your mind and gets your thoughts into focus?
Same thing, but I also have a secondary thing. I'll start with the first one first. So I do write constantly, and sometimes it's just stream of consciousness where I just start putting my thoughts in front of my eyes on the screen, and it looks just like I described earlier with me writing out at the park. I just look like an idiot madman staring at the screen, typing madly. I mean, I sit down for 2 to 3 hours a day and write, and sometimes it's book stuff, sometimes it's just getting things out of my head. The other one's a little creepier, and I'm happy to admit that. Even though
sir, do tell.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
I
do this a lot.
You chase women.
Don't tell.
When you
don't
have
tell.
writer's block.
Don't tell.
No, I'm kidding.
Warning, children.
Nope. Okay.
No, it's literally just staring.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I do this thing where my eyes glaze over and I'm no longer present in my surroundings.
No, my wife tells me I do that. My problem is I tend to do it like mid-sentence.
Yep.
So just stop and and I'm.
When I first watched the newish BBC adaptation of Sherlock Holmes, and they did his Mind Palace sequences, I was like, "Wow, yeah, that's
that series
pretty
is
true."
really good, really
I just wander around inside my own brain for a while, and it's a little disconcerting for people around me, especially when it happens in the middle of groups, because they're all talking, and then they all look at me, and I'm like.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Are you alive?" Yeah, sorry.
Well, I had a pulse. Richard, what about you? What gets your mind clear?
It depends. If I'm like worked up about something, then I usually end up listening to music, and I have various, playlists that I have for different kind of mentalities and things where I want to get into or out of.
Like that.
So, yeah, like I was in like a real bad mood this morning, and I was like, went and walked down the hall, got up from my desk, and I realized that like my I've been clenching my teeth for probably like 2 hours or something like that. I was like, I just need to like walk around mouth breathing for a while. So I listened to music and chilled myself out.
From, man.
But but yeah, I think the other thing is just kind of talking. I like to sort of bounce ideas off people and whatnot. So I have people that I like to chat with quite a bit. So it's nothing as I don't know. I'm not quite so self-sufficient with just being able to write things down and work it out myself. I gotta have people to bounce things off of.
No, that's
wrong with that.
So aside from the writing thing, I'm gonna steal whatever else you guys said because I do a little bit of that too, but mostly the talking thing.
Yeah.
No, that was. Oh, go on.
No, I wasn't sure if you were done. I had a question for.
I'm never
Katie.
done. I always talk. Just
I know.
Cut me off.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and cut you off.
Focus on our guest.
Yeah, I was going to ask you before we pivot into anything more general. Two things I wanted to say. First off, how long have you been doing live streams with your husband? And is that going to be a permanent thing that you do on the channel?
Yeah, so it's not been very long, like a couple months, maybe tops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And are you doing those weekly or just kind of when you can?
Yeah. The goal is weekly. Halloween, we didn't pull it off.
That was a Tuesday, right? Or yeah, well, Halloween's kind of a.
And then last Monday, I was intending to get the interview up and have that instead of streaming, and it didn't work out that way. But eventually I'd like to get into a rhythm where we stream, and it is late night on Mondays. I apologize for everybody on the East Coast.
This is hard enough for me.
They get what they deserve.
Oi.
It's true though. It's true.
And I just tried to do
what time zone are you in? What
indie news? Like, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. What time zone are you in?
We're in Central.
Okay, so you're in my time. I live in Iowa, so
yeah, this is bedtime though. So
right,
yeah.
It is.
Yes.
Sorry, go on.
I need enough time to put the first kid down, put the baby down, know that the baby is going to stay down. Then
yeah.
But do you ever know that?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, side note, like, we do Baby Wise, and that shit works. Like,
Baby Wise.
Do what now?
It's so Baby Wise is actually a really old like method of getting your baby into a rhythm schedule. So by 2 or 3 months, both of my kids slept 6 to 8 hours.
Okay, so
well, geez, now that I'm done, I wish
my kids did the same thing, but I'm not sure. What is this Baby Wise thing? So what is this wisdom that
we're pivoting into a parenting stream? This is the Iron Age plus parenting.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Iron Age Parents. For those of you who
exactly
want to know how to raise kids,
like a lot of Iron Age creators are parents.
I know, it makes me so angry.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And I think it's
if we ever did a convention, we're gonna have to give complimentary daycare.
Yeah, exactly.
We really are.
Oh, I wanted to go to BaseCon so.
I'll volunteer my daughter. She's trained.
We just need to have a ball pit, like just one ball pit, and just make sure it's big enough.
Can we remove the syringes first? Anyway.
Well, we'd clean it out.
Sorry, that was an old joke. You guys remember all those? You guys remember all those horrible stories that came around about ball pits back when we were younger?
Mm-hmm.
Horrible things for children. Just put them on a trampoline; they'll be fine.
Bouncy castle, man.
Bouncy castles are great. Yeah, bouncy castles. You throw kids in a bouncy castle, they'll take care of themselves for years.
You throw adults in bouncy castles, and they're just as
You're not actually wrong. You're not.
That's full utility right there. The kids can play with it all day, and then they go to sleep, and we play in there all night.
Don't go in a bouncy castle when you're half drunk. Turns out it's a lot more bouncy and a lot more wobbly.
You think?
I've in my college days, I trampolined off the side of I bounced off the edge of a trampoline while pretty drunk at one point in time. That was hit the side, flipped around. It was not my finest moment. So
I was watching one of those gardening shows, where they go in and they just transform someone's yard. And these people had kids, right? And they loved the trampoline. So they put it in ground. So it was on the same level. I was like, this is brilliant. Why doesn't everybody do this?
Do you have as a construction worker, do you have any idea what it takes to dig a hole like that?
Okay, fine.
Like,
they must have had a spare excavator or something.
I think you have the same zoning issues as having an in-ground pool.
Zoning issues. Who cares about that?
Yeah, but you can't fall into a trampoline.
No, I also screw zoning issues. I hate those people so much. But we're not going to get into that rant tonight. I don't think.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and my lovely wife. And why do you guys give my lovely wife ideas? Katie, this one's on you. Now I have to go dig a hole and put a trampoline in the ground. Katie, we're not friends anymore.
I'm sorry.
It's totally fine. So,
just not friends until the work's over. Then you'd be friends again when everybody's happy.
There you go. Hey,
I'm not 21 anymore. After I dig a hole like that, I'm going down for a few days. I'm not 21. Screw it. I'll get back up and do it again the next day. But it hurts now. I don't know where pain. I didn't know pain existed when I was younger.
You just need more liquid pain relief. You'll be all right.
There you go. No, I was gonna say, Katie. Wait a second. Hold on. What are you drinking tonight, Katie? Are you drinking?
So I didn't
Where's
grab
your drink?
anything. I was intending to, but
oh my goodness! I can't believe we've already given her an hour and a half of our time. This is,
you know what?
unacceptable.
I'll be right back.
Okay, there we go. We bullied her off to go get something. I'm not even drinking anything alcoholic tonight, so
I started with coffee.
Hey,
oh,
is that the
there you
melon
go.
one?
Ooh, that is totally.
Is that the melon one?
It's Foo Berry Soda.
Oh no, that one's not that good.
I'll see if I can get it open without my husband. There we go.
There we go. There we go.
God.
There.
Okay. So people keep asking me this question. Guys, do you have any idea the kind of swing that I would have to make this happen? Like that, like I appreciate it, but
I'm gonna
Can't hurt
see
to
if
ask.
we can't get him briefly or something like that. But
I think he knows you more than me. He absolutely knows you more than me.
Well, no, he mentioned you, like I said, I think on one of his live streams.
That was a super chat that somebody sent him. But he has openly mentioned you more than me.
Sure, but the point is that
Richard, you're prettier than I am. Just admit it.
He's aware of us.
No more buts. Can't hurt to ask. That's the only thing.
Everybody's like, because the first time we do Iron Age Nights, I just send an open invite to Mike S. Miller because he has been. He has really just brought me into the fold. I don't know why. I think the guy smokes weed or something. But anyway, so Mike S. Miller has just brought me into the fold and just made me really feel like a part of this much larger community. And our first Iron Age Nights that we do, he brings Shadiversity on.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all just like, what just happened? This is crazy. And so ever since then, everybody's like, you should just get Razor Fist on. Why don't you just get this other guy? I'm like, guys, I don't think you understand. Like, I didn't send that invite out. Like, I didn't plan that. I didn't know. I had a feeling that Mike was going to pull some BS like that, but I didn't know it was going to be Shad. I thought it was going to be somebody. I didn't know who. I was just like,
Mike's awesome ambush.
Yeah, like, but yeah. So,
somewhat managed expectations, but yeah,
it's
we'll
really,
see.
Really. Yeah, it was an absolute blast.
I was also going to ask you one last thing before I heckled you into getting a drink. I was going to ask, as far as the Iron Age authors go, do you have advice for what just kind of like generic advice for Iron Age creators as a reviewer? And as a reader, do you feel like there's what would you say? Is there like a common thing that you see that you feel like people could improve upon? Or not talking about like presentation as far as, like covers or blurbs or anything, but like as far as the actual content of the story and the quality of the work and so on and so forth. Is there anything in that where you want to offer wisdom?
I think writing the story you want to, like the actual story you are wanting to write, is important. Less about like writing to market and stuff. Just because that's the beauty of indie, is you can write something that you can't publish in TradPub that doesn't fit into genre well enough to be, sellable to someone who is then going to sell it for you. The long and short of it is that trad pub is no longer a viable business, and they, like, when it came out that, like, everyone was so surprised that most authors don't make more than $12, right?
Yeah.
It's anyone who knows anything about publishing already knew that, right? There's big authors that keep everybody, the entire publishing industry afloat.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to.
Do you feel like the day of the middleman is over?
I think that publishers are no longer the middleman, if that makes sense.
Who do you can you continue with that concept?
Sure. I think that there's always going to be somebody helping to connect readers and authors. And I think reviewers are going to fill that space. And I say reviewers instead of publishers because I think that small publishing is running into the same problems that larger publishers are, except that they don't have those giant authors to keep everybody else afloat, you know? The way that things work right now, most authors are already doing a lot of their own marketing. And if you already have an audience, then you're doing fine. If you're trying to build an audience, it's slow, it's hard. And that's where I think reviewers can step in. But again, I'm not sure how that would work as a business model. Like, as a reviewer, there's no money in it, you know. I'm doing this as my hobby. So
well, and I think that is the business model. I mean, I feel like I'm in the same boat you may be. I didn't do it for the passion of it. I stumbled into it.
Right.
But I think that there is a market for, I think all of us here are essentially doing something very similar in slightly different ways, but I think there's a market for what we are all trying to do, which is essentially shout out other people and be the voices for other people who need to build an audience. And I think, go on.
I was just say, well, we're certainly all trying to help create the culture that we want to see. And, you know, like Daniel with his Whimsyland services is, you know, trying to help people get those stories out. And, you know, you and I, or Royce and I are talking about them and trying to bring publicity, and Katie is trying to form kind of like these, you know, basically form the core of that I don't know what a better term of it is than like the tastemaker, and you kind of have to have those, and you need a bunch of them, you know. So, and that's no diss to you, but I mean, that's just the reality of it. There's always more room. And I think that with the boom of, and I mean, this is kind of a dirty word, but of influencers, I think that the era of mass marketing is really on the downswing. And so increasingly you see people like you have an influencer. Like now the way that marketing is working is you have a personality, and people might identify with that personality for whatever reason. You know, they're cool, or they have the right opinions or whatever. And then the products are like brought to that person to get access to their following, you know. And so that really breaks down for the big traditional publishers, you know. And you know, I think before the success factor was, are you in a bookstore? And I think getting in a bookstore anymore is just not that meaningful.
But getting on a popular streamer's YouTube channel could be.
Yeah, exactly. Or having
that's where you were going with this.
Yeah, exactly. Or having like a good review from somebody who is a trusted voice within a community is a major factor. And so I think that there's, it's kind of one of these things where I have like a little blurb that I just kind of spit out in the mission statement about how, indie authors or indie creators have like the most opportunity ever, but they also face some really interesting challenges, And I think that something I don't mention in that blurb is that the markets across the board are really getting, it's very tumultuous right now. And so there's not really clear paths forward for a lot of people because a lot of the things that had been working in the past aren't working so well anymore. And, it's hard enough to write a book, much less market a book, much less learn how marketing works in current day when even professionals aren't quite sure, and especially ethically, it's, you can do unethical things to get some eyes on your project, but it's sort of like, unless you have a flash in the pan and an exit strategy, then you've just wasted your time and you burned your reputation. So
I've been sitting on this one for a while. Tim Allen, this is question for Katie. What was the worst book you read and reviewed? Sorry, I'm trying to give the chat some time here. So Katie, what was the worst book that you read and reviewed?
This isn't fair because you guys know I only do positive reviews.
So this is my chat. Have you heard what they've said about me? Chat, tell Katie what you've said about me. It's never. I've been getting crap about a fly for a week.
Okay, well, I have to consult my notebook because this is my brain, like I said.
Notebook brain.
I do have some thoughts on that discussion about trad.
But yeah, go ahead, Daniel. You're making a gesture.
Yeah, because I have somewhat of a darker take on the whole thing. Success in current market is derived by how much money you put into it.
Well, I would agree to a certain.
I think there's a shift. Richard,
there is a shift in what's becoming available now through these more grassroots things like what you're doing, Royce. But the top panel, like Katie was saying, those major authors that are holding the publishing companies up right now with their revenue are also there's an entire ecosystem up there between reviewers, magazines,
but we also know that these publishing companies and these magazines and all these places are hemorrhaging money to get these top authors with them.
But it's cyclical. It's not hemorrhaging money so much in that it's bleed for a while and then heal.
But I think that system cannot last much longer. I don't think.
I'd like to see it fall down, but I don't know that it's going to. And a lot of it is what we've been talking about here. Yet, in order to make something that's self-sustaining, while giving us the opportunity to do these things that we do on these live streams and like you do all week long, there has to be some sort of revenue coming in, which you get from crowd sources like that. But the ones that have already been doing that for 20, 30 years now, the big reviewers that give you those opportunities as, say, an author to do the New York Times bestseller that attracts people to buying books, the sheep. Yeah, I'll go there. It's all bribery. It's literally all bribery.
No, it is the New York Times bestsellers list is all Barbie. Katie, did you happen to find the answer to your question while we were babbling?
Yes.
I don't know.
Juicy gossip.
You don't know what the best or worst
you don't have
book
to.
was?
You don't necessarily have to answer that one if it's going to burn it.
But you do have to pay attention to this one.
What? Holy cow, you guys.
There we go.
Toxic Crusader for $10. We're 2 subs away from Katie reaching 100 subs. This is the power of the #1 Iron Age creator. Toxic, stop it. A drink with Boomer. Okay, that's fair. I mean, crazy definitely meant a drink with crazy. And
thank you, chat.
Oh,
Yep.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, and no, they're not wrong. We
When
are
they say
well.
they're
Actually,
gonna do
technically
something,
he
they
is
do
wrong
it.
because you're 1 subscriber away from 100 subscribers on YouTube.
There we go. Congratulations.
Right
No,
now.
I don't know the etiquette. Am I supposed to do some sort of special streamer giveaway or?
Yeah, you got to go live as soon as it hits 100.
In the almighty words of some jackass that I heard on the internet a long time ago, you do you, boo. Because that's literally, I just be you, just be you, and I don't know if I did anything special for 100 subscribers. I think I did. Well, no, I did my 1,000 subscriber show with these 2 guys.
Yeah.
I did. No. What, Daniel, were you there? No. You were there the week after.
Yeah, I came in right after you did it
Yeah.
with Richard first.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And-
I told you 1K by Friday, and it happened.
Mhm.
Wow.
All right, hey,
Yeah.
Katie, you should be at 100.
And
My
then
wife just
Iron Age
subscribed,
Knights was
so-
born shortly afterwards.
Yeah, I think too. Yeah, that was a crazy. No, but guys, go subscribe to her channel for 2 reasons. One, because you're going to want to see the authors that she's covering, especially being an author yourself. You want to make sure that you're following somebody like Katie because she's going to be asking questions from a reader standpoint that you as an author probably want some insight into if you're struggling to figure out how to navigate your own story, navigate your own themes, or maybe even ideas that you hadn't thought about yet.
It's
And if she's going to be interviewing some authors and things like that, and oh, by the way, Katie, I'm going to say something to you that John Delarose said to me when I was on a stream with him. If you are going to open yourself up to these authors, be ready because there's going to be a lot of them. And
true.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yes.
yeah. Well, and it's.
I think Legacy of Heroes is on our wait list.
Oh my god. Yeah. Dude, that artwork looked fantastic, by the way. I've been meaning to say that to you.
Which one?
No, just the artwork that I've seen you post. Oh, fantastic.
All different artists.
I know. Well, I know it's all different artists. I'm just trying to say what I saw. I don't. Well, especially with my new day job, I'm way too busy and I have to fight the government on Monday. Yay. Anyway.
Yay.
Yay. That's not
a good man goes to war, right?
Yeah, it's not entirely a lie. But but that's the one thing. That's the idea that you're going to get somebody with an analytical mind asking questions of writers from a standpoint of having a literature degree, right? English lit. Is that what you said?
Yep.
That's who is also not a raging leftist and just like that, just like right there is already okay. I'll listen to this person, but then there's like all this other like bonus stuff, like being like really smart and like actually knowing how to read. It's amazing.
Knowing those words good.
Yeah,
I know. But all of that there is going to be something hugely important for what the future is going to look very, very different. And if you guys pay attention to where the trends go and what the future is going to look like, the future is going to look very, very different than it is now. It's going to be a very, very individual future. It's going to be a very individualist future. And people like Katie, people like Richard, people like Daniel, I am attempting myself. We're all trying to contribute to that thing. It's, if you guys look into prosumerism or the prosumer, it is a philosophical idea that was pitched back in the 1980s in a book that I cannot remember. But it's the idea where everybody is actually producing their own product, similar to what we're all doing here, and we're also consumers as well. Mm-hmm. Really interesting philosophy there. Cannot remember where it came from, but I am going to ask one more question here, and then I'm going to turn it over to the chat. So chat, you can either ask a normal question or you can send in a super chat. I don't care which. All right. But we're going to go over to the chat.
This is usually where the show goes off the rails.
Oh, it's going to be epic. It's going to be epic because I'm tired, and the chat can just be... And chat, if you want to beat me up, send super chats. I'll read them. Anyway. No, it's fine, chat. Don't do that. If you guys don't. I'm just screwing around.
They'll do it.
No, but, no, because they will. They'll totally send me chats. So, starting with Katie, and then I'll go up to Richard, and then we'll go down to Daniel, because I've been trying to work the pattern differently all night. What is a story that you have recently come across? It doesn't have to be a recent story, just something that you've come across recently that you really, really enjoyed. Just knocked your socks off. What is a story that you've recently come across? And recently is a general term that you just thought, my goodness, Lord, I need this. I need to tell people about this. I need to try to get people onto this thing that I'm reading or watching, or again, movie, TV, audio book. It doesn't matter. What's a story that you've recently come across that just made you go, yep, I'm all in?
Go to periapsispress.com. Everything indie that I enjoyed is there, or will be imminently.
Hey, look at that! I'm there.
And I think probably the most recent thing trad pub wise was Naomi Novik's new series. It's a magic school series, and it's probably one of the better variations of that genre that I've seen recently. The third book just came out in September. Third book of this series just came out in August. Yeah, I if I start going into indie stuff that I've read recently that I've really enjoyed, then I'll just be listing off everything on Periapsis Press. So
I just want to share the title of this stream: Iron Age Knights #4, Periapsis Press, Iron Age Reviewer. You do understand that you are the entire subject of our show this evening.
Yeah, you can go on.
So you are the one person on the stream this evening that has carte blanche to go wherever you want to.
But if you'd rather let the reviews speak for themselves, that's also okay.
Also okay. And you can go to
They speak very well.
.com and
I think,
make sure that
I think
you read
the reviews are evidence that I can go on quite at length about the things that I enjoyed. So
I don't feel like your reviews are entertaining, all that long,
but they're concise.
They're very good. I was going to say, I don't think, as far as rambling reviews, I've gotten a couple articles that are, pretty verbose, but the
one you made me do, I had to cut down.
I just have low word counts because I know that it makes people read what they wrote and go, what can I cut out? Which is probably what I would think anyway. So
yeah,
anyway,
I
go ahead.
Make sure that I do reviews around 1,000 words and not.
Well, I think that's pretty short as far as reviews go.
The trick is that it's all
words.
Positive, right? If I start talking, if I put anything negative in there, I could go much, much longer. But it's hard to write positively and not be just like, no, seriously, guys, it was really good. Like really, really good.
Yeah, I understand that.
Setting good, characters good, plot. Oh, it's good.
Right. Swift Sword Roast. This question: which genre did you consume most in high school?
Oh, fantasy, easy.
Action movies.
I have a quick
action.
I was gonna
movies.
say
That's fantasy for me.
If we're going around, in high school,
Richard forgot how this works.
Yeah, I know. I did. I don't know. I guess I read a lot of science fiction and fantasy. So I just read a lot of different stuff. So
I am the oddball out. I've always been a movie and TV guy. Action flicks.
I mean, I've always loved B movies. I probably watched. In fact, I probably watched a lot of those B horror movies.
Oh,
they're so much fun.
But you and my wife would get along so well, Richard.
I have a goofy question for. I have a couple rapid fire questions for Katie here. Actually, first of all, have you ever played Kerbal Space Program?
No.
No. Okay. That's okay. Second,
you don't get to judge our guest, good sir.
No, I'm not judging. I'm just curious. I mean,
there was no judgment.
Like, learned about orbital mechanics by
it just shot down
method.
some of his questions. That's all.
No, that's okay. I didn't have a follow up.
Right, well, he had the follow up prepared, and then she goes, "No," and he goes,
the skip down. Yeah, no. The follow up was going to be like, what's your rough estimate for how many times you've killed Jebediah Kerman? But obviously, you haven't killed him at all, so that's pretty good.
When I was a kid, right? I grew up. I was the oldest of 4 girls.
Oh my goodness!
When I was 8, we moved to a new house because my mom had twins, and all of a sudden we didn't fit in the old house.
Yeah, that happens.
And my dad never hooked up his, like, I don't remember if it must have been an NES. And then, like, I missed all of, like, retro gaming just completely. And that goes for, like, PC, NES, SNES. So then when I got married, all of that stuff came to our house with my husband. And that's how I got exposed to all kinds of games that, like, as a kid, I had no idea existed. So I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Actually, I was going to say that was just one question, but I was going to ask, so if you have, if you're Periapsis Press, what are you consider yourself orbiting something? What's the, or do you just like the term? I feel like you're the
2 hours to get to that question.
Well, I didn't think it was like the most pressing question, so I had to.
I thought it was threw the layup intentionally by making her define the word, and nobody.
Well, oh no! I avoided it intentionally because I was like, no, this is cheesy. Richard is a connoisseur of the cheese, though.
So it kind of gets at the sci-fi fantasy fantastic element. It also has that aspect of being close to something, as close as possible to something. And I kind of like to leave that open to interpretation. But I feel like indie authors are trying to get as close as possible to something, trying to attain something. So I like to think that I'm sort of curating that kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe that's a little narcissistic.
No, I think it's a great.
That's exactly
great
what
name.
you're doing.
You have to think that you got to be a little bit narcissistic to try and do something new and break into things, and we need a little bit of narcissism, right?
you have to have a little bit of, and I feel like narcissism gets, and I throw the term around quite a bit, but I feel
Gets a
like
bad
narcissism. Well, yes, but sir, no, I feel like passion and pride are getting often in the modern day confused with narcissism. Predominantly because language changes over the course of time. If you've ever looked into the study of like philology and all that, you understand how words can change over the course of time, and especially if you've looked into other like linguistics and how languages went from like how we went, like Old English would sound German to us, like when we think Old English, Shakespeare wasn't Old English, he was early modern English, and you keep going back, and you just see how everything changes. And that's kind of where we're at with certain words such as narcissism. It's getting it's narcissism still means narcissism, but also we're like pushing like pride in like our thoughts and our feelings and like being outspoken about things into narcissism, and it's kind of a it's kind of a weird thing there. But Shay says, hey Katie, what was the strangest that one story you have reviewed? Sorry, I'm trying to pay attention to my hound dog, who is most likely pissed off at the puppy, who is probably took a toy from her and now she's mad. So what's the
Andy's
strangest?
so exhausted he's mixing his vowels up.
You have no idea, dude. I'm seeing double right now.
Oh, I know how you feel. Everything's kind of a blur for me.
I've actually reviewed weird fiction, so there's that. Where Sleeping Gods Lie. No, Let Sleeping Gods Lie. That's a weird Western that I reviewed. That's pretty good. Invocations of the Submortal is a novella, weird horror short story that I've reviewed. As far as like the oddest, Redcaps Rising is like a it's like a fairy tale for adults, but without the connotation of adult content, if that makes sense. It's about a guy who goes on a road trip with some gnomes. Like, it's just really odd, very fun. And then probably Devil's Dictum, which is the United States founded by pirates, alternate history. I actually have my own fan art that I did of that.
Very nice.
Oh, hold that up again. Hold that up again.
Oh gosh, it's fan art, guys. So don't judge me.
But that's
it's good,
adequate, I would say.
All right, we have to interrupt. Has Katie read Shadow of the Conqueror? Or if not, is it on the list as somebody who really likes morally gray characters? I loved it, but I'm not a real critical reader. I just know what I like. So Shadow of the Conqueror is the novel by Shadam Brooks, who is also known as Shadiversity. Have you checked that one out?
I have not. All right.
I read the first part of the graphic novel. I liked it. I felt like the graphic novel, they definitely had to make some choices that were not bad, but you definitely knew, like, a graphic novel, you got to keep it small. And it's, they were 45 or God, I don't even know how many pages they were in on that one. But no, overall it's really good. That's actually Mike S. Miller, who, if you've seen him on the show before, he's actually the artist for it.
Okay.
Yep. So Toxic Crusader. I have a question. Why is it called Periapsis Press? If it's a reference to something, I fail to see the connection, for I am an uncultured swine. See, Toxic Crusader is absolutely uncultured and absolutely swine. But he is my uncultured swine, and I will defend the hell out of him.
So yeah, like we've talked a little bit already. It's spacey and maybe a little self-inflated.
Spacey Wacy.
This is a highly, highly important question. Iron Age Media, you got a sister?
Nope.
No. Even if he did, the answer's still nope.
I was gonna say I have comments, but we're gonna just keep moving.
Nope. Yep. We're gonna keep moving. James Craig. Oh, James, how are you? He is a Gilded member.
James
I love
Craig.
seeing James down there. James, how are you? Question: because I was late, are you in need of Iron Age books to check out? Yes, James is actually doing some very interesting things. Do you need more books to check out, or would you like
Interesting
more
wording?
Would you like more books to check out? Can they
yes,
send
I
you
would
more
like more books to check out. Because I am doing this as a hobby, I allow myself a great deal of discretion in the order that I read stuff. So if people have sent me things and they're like, holy cow, she has taken forever to read it, it's because something else appealed to me at the moment that I needed a new book, and that's what I read. So if you think you can convince me with the blurb to choose your book over something else, go ahead, give it a shot. Otherwise, it'll go on my pile and I'll get to it eventually. I will.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. Hit her up in DMs and be like, please read my book, and she'll read it. It's fine. It's fine. That's how.
I was gonna say,
Eventually.
Katie, I don't know what your views on Bane books is as far as whether or not you'd consider them indie enough to cover, but I get their releases on a monthly basis. So if there's ever something that you see from them that you'd like to check out, just hit me up.
I think I'm
And
on
I'd
their
be,
list too.
As I say, I'd be honored to have something like that. But yeah, they're great people in terms of being willing to hand out books and just be general amicable people.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, they are doing a very proactive job of reaching out to reviewers, for sure. Getting books in people's hands. I think they kind of understand which way the wind is blowing, as far as that's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a question. If we don't have a question from chat, I had a kind of a general question for everybody, which is, I saw, in some Twitter discussions about supporting independent publishers as a way to, like, people were, this person was responding to, authors trying to help promote each other and get eyes on books and things like that. And their suggestion was to, help indie publishers and go to indie publishers and things like that. Do you see that as a as a good path forward, or do you think that there's like still so much in the indie space that it's hard for any publisher to really harness some of the more what would you call it, the more oddball or more out there kind of stuff? Basically, do you think that's good advice or no?
I think that small publishers can provide the sense of security and confidence in readers of there's going to be a certain quality level. So I think there is a function that they are performing. I just don't know if it's a viable business model long term. If it would have, or if there's like a way to do like subscription model type stuff for small publishers.
How do you envision that? What do you mean by that? I'm actually curious there.
Well, like the way
I'm going to step away for a moment and take care of the doggos. I will be right back. I am so sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Like in a similar way that people support independent creators on like a monthly basis type thing, as opposed to as opposed to buying a book and then the publisher getting a sliver.
Mm-hmm.
I just because
The hard model.
What?
That's a hard model.
Yeah. Well,
Unlike,
because there's
say,
such a narrow
streaming service, a author has to go through an entire process to create what they're doing, and having someone paying in on a monthly basis for something that could take 9 months to 12 months to 16 months to put out that's a hard relationship to have with the person. It's different for, say, Royce's model of live streaming constantly over the course of every week. But for us in the writing circle, we have to walk away from y'all. I mean, I always feel bad that I'm not more present on Discord, not more present on Gilded, not more present on Twitter. I'm not doing Instagram and all these other social media apps, but I cut all those things out because if I didn't, I wouldn't have time to write. I'd just be spending it all talking, and nobody wants to pay for me to talk.
Well, one of the things that a small publisher or a publisher in general can do is, like I said, keep readers in books.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of with an indie author, you finish their book and then
you wait until the next one.
Right. However, and if you've got someone like in the Pulp Rev sphere, then maybe you're going to get a book in the next month or so. But maybe it's going to be a year, maybe it's going to be 2 years, maybe they're never going to finish their series. You just don't know.
Yep.
But if they are part of a publisher that is doing part of their marketing at least, or they are partnered with a group of writers and they're all promoting each other's stuff, you have this handoff where you finish this book and then you grab this one, so.
Yeah, I see where you're going, but I don't think we all see the big picture of it all, like the math behind it. Because, for example, just to use this call as a potential model, I write a book. It's part of 10 other authors who put it into a publishing house. Iron Age Media, will say, becomes the publishing house for the purpose of this theory. And Royce is our marketer. So the trickle happens. Whoever buys my book, X amount of money goes in, but that's based on the work that the publisher put in. So the publisher gets a cut of the profits of that book. Then the marketer gets a cut of the profits of that book. And it keeps cycling in that direction. So every single one, if you've got 10, you've got 10 different pies that are all getting divided in thirds or fourths or, even tenths when you get up into the larger markets. So the total amount that's generated isn't sustainable. I think
right.
What was it, Silver Empire? Loved them.
Yeah.
They folded their company. It just wasn't able to sustain itself in the way that money has to circulate in a system like this.
Yeah.
Well, I think that there's one of the things that, because I've been thinking about, some like what is absent from the indie market and how to provide it, and how to make it sustainable. And so, just an idea that I had with as I was sitting here is what I think might be viable, or hear me out on the potential for something like this, is like, you have Katie, you have like a set of people who want to read one book a month. Okay. And as part of your business model, you say, all right, well, subscription to my whatever for physical books is this amount, and for ebooks is this amount, and then each month, like, you review the book for the next month, and then people send in books hoping to be selected, but you at that point in time, like, buy a set number of books and then send them out to all of your followers. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of like it's almost like a reverse, not a reverse, but it's kind of like a publisher that skips the step of being, a lot of that overhead and a lot of the intermediates and a lot of the marketing. Like, you basically cut out all the marketing there. So that's the kind of thing that, not saying that's what you should do, but I think that sometimes we need to try totally different
it's a different
strategies on things.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Daniel?
The thing to point out there would be in the case of, say, the physical version. The ebook version is sort of self-sustaining, but it's also a very small stream of income because the ebooks go for less. Traditionally, anyways, I've seen some ebooks. I'm like, why are you charging paperback prices for an ebook, bro? But when
video games still charge.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's a good point. But what I mean is, with the paperback model of what you were suggesting, yeah, it cuts the marketing cost because the market's already established within her audience, but it also puts a whole lot of man hours and expenses on her as well.
Not if you have a drop ship. Like, there's no way you wouldn't handle the shipping yourself. See,
some of them have. That's part of the problem.
Say what?
Some of them have.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that people haven't done it poorly before. It's just I can't, like, there's some people, actually, speaking of which, George Alexopoulos, he, from what I understand, prints and packages everything himself, and I'm like, dude,
yes, he's very
valuable.
Yes.
I'm like, that is valuable time that I feel like you could be paying somebody else to do.
Well, but he does it with his family,
the only way this would work.
So the way that he is doing it is around his family, with his family, and that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's maybe he doesn't have a business model set up for it, but offhand, I think if the artist is, or the reviewer, or the whoever is, like, physically doing these things, that there's a potential for increased efficiency, because I'm like, maybe some people are paying for not just the author, not just the story, but they also want to have a book that was physically put together by that person. But I think that market is smaller than the people who just want a book written by this person with this style. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you'd have to have the shipping, you'd have to have the drop shipping figured out or something. And I'm just kind of riffing, but
yeah, I'm not sure drop shipping would, it would definitely cut out the man hours, but I think it would also be an overhead expense that comes off of the revenue generated. And that,
sure.
That can stagnate depending on your membership.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to have a critical mass.
There's time to just to any sort of subscription model. You have to be generating some sort of content or desired product. So books could be one of those things, but then you have a time that's associated with that then takes away from the other content that you could be doing. It's tough. It is.
Yep.
All right, Toxic Crusader, next question. Which book would you like to see adapted as a movie the most? And when I say adapted, I mean faithfully adapted, not adapted for modern audiences. Also, F you, Royce, you're a good man.
It's true.
Okay, first of all, stop it. Second of all, how the hell did that backhanded comment come at the end of that?
Well, the question
And
was more
thirdly-
important, obviously.
Apparently. And what are your answers? What book do you want to see faithfully adapted as a movie?
One, no such thing as faithfully adapted.
Very true. It's impossible.
Oh, debatable.
I have I will say this. I would like to, not necessarily as a movie, but maybe as an animated series. I really like what Brian Asher did with The Assassin of Malcozé. I really, really love what he did there. And I think that the universe that he's working on and crafting and building, I also am
It's
just
super
now
fun.
getting into Star Shatter from Black Knight.
Yeah, that's next on my list.
Oh, dude, he goes into it. I mean, just he's right into it. I think that show could be an anime style show, but in that vein of writing, I think it would be perfect for that. Maybe not necessarily a movie, because movies I feel are too short form for some books. But Katie, what do you think?
Form for all books.
Well, yeah, Katie, what do you think?
So as far as indie stuff, The Mummy of Monte Cristo was really good. Would love to see that adapted. That's an undead variation. So if you know
Of the Count of Monte Cristo,
Yes.
One
Pride
of
and
my
Prejudice and Zombies. Mummy
that's
of
one of
Monte
my
Cristo.
favorite.
that kind of
That's
stuff.
one of my
Yes.
favorite movies. That's one of my. Not the original from the 70s. I actually like the 2000 version with Jim Caviezel and Guy Pearce. I really love
The Wire Fu one.
No. Wire Fu. No. What? No.
I think that we've seen
There are many adaptations of the Count of Monte Cristo.
No,
One
the Count of
them-
Monte. The Count of Monte Cristo is like 2001, I think, with starring Jim Caviezel, who he played Christ in The Passion of the Christ.
Yes.
And then Guy Pearce. No, there was no Wire Fu in that one. I love that movie. In fact, I had to get my wife into it, and there's a lot of information thrown. I love that. That movie is probably in my top 10 of all time. I love that movie. Sorry, go on.
I think that we've seen that works. Like we've seen a movie version of Count of Monte Cristo.
Mm-hmm.
So
multiple times.
I think it would be
Many.
fun to see an undead adaptation of that.
Well,
But I'll
I
hand it off to somebody else because.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I was going to jump in.
Yeah, go for it.
With in honor of the Toxic Crusader, I was going to say I think I'd like to see Larry Correa's Monster Hunter. At least one of those books adapted by Troma Entertainment. So that could be a really good time.
Kate, you happen to know this man's that's in my chat now?
Hey, babe.
Fantastic. Good sir. Thank you so
Hi,
much for being
David.
here and supporting your amazing wife.
And I can hear the baby, so I really appreciate you.
Don't feel like you have to stay. If you have to go at any time, you are more than welcome to.
I
get
might
up
duck out here after maybe a couple more questions because
Yeah, we're almost at the 2.5 hour mark. So
yeah. So
yeah, our little boy is a little bit of a mama's boy. So
how if you don't mind me asking, how old?
almost 8 months.
Okay, yeah,
wow. Ooh,
yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. Yep. Oh, and the gentleman of in the chat. Sorry, I actually have two chats pulled up, so there's a little bit of a delay here, but the gentleman is absolutely handling the home front the way that he should. Fantastic. I love it. I love seeing dads. I love seeing dads be dads. Good for you. Seriously. And I mean that. Like watching dads be dads. You have 3 dads on stream here. We all know, we all get it. and I love it. Good on you, good sir. And
I was gonna say it's the first time that it's not just dad tube.
I know.
So it's parent tube. We got to be inclusive now. So
True.
All right, Katie.
Uriel's Revenge.
Uriel's Revenge. So where can you find Uriel's Revenge, this epic story that I've heard about?
Amazon.
Amazon? You can find it on Amazon. Oh, okay.
And I do have a review of it now on Periapsis Press. I did not write the review myself. It's a guest review. So.
Oh, it is on Periapsis Press. So let's go to... Is it science fiction or fantasy?
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
Definitely sci-fi.
It's actually a little bit hard, is what some readers have returned.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Uriel's Revenge review from Periapsis Press. Here it is. Go there, check out the review, and then make sure that you follow all the appropriate links to go buy the book and make sure that you support our fantastic guest, her awesome husband for handling the children's, and a wonderful family of the Iron Age.
is there a way to support just Periapsis Press? Do you have a Patreon or anything
not
like
yet. Might be moving that way in the new year. Right now, it's just a hobby. So,
if you do go that direction, may I suggest like a subscribe star?
Thank you. Sorry, did I mute or not?
You muted,
yes,
but I saw it.
Okay, good. I was going to say,
I was going to say your head got really big. And
yeah.
As all sneezes do, as all mine. Yes. Yeah.
Don't feel bad. I don't crowdfund either.
I wish I could say that, but I feel like I do now. Catherine Francis says, Katie, your husband is the GOAT. LMAO.
I think so.
Hey, and that's what's important in a relationship. And that's absolutely what's important in a relationship. So
true.
Hey, what is the map behind you? I saw somebody make a comment about it, and I thought about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Good.
I can tell.
I'm a scrub. I didn't recognize.
How could you?
One of these weeks I'll have to bring my collection
it's a little
down.
bit hard to see. So you can be forgiven.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad I can stay.
All right. Well, unless there are more questions in the chat, I'm fairly certain all of us have parent things to do. I have dogs to wrangle, children to wrangle, and I am 90% sure Daniel P. Riley has been fighting off the plague the entire night. And so
the dark circles are worse than they've been.
The eyebrows have been subdued.
Yeah,
it's barely anything at all.
The Lord of the
clearly
Eyebrows.
Unwell.
Yes,
they're just just kind of droop. They're sad.
Yep, they're a bit down today.
Yep. So let us start with our absolutely awesome guest, Katie Room. What would you like to shill and tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow you, how they can connect with you, and what you are working on?
Okay. Might need you to repeat that. We'll see if I can remember all of that.
So where can they
It's
find
a lot.
So my name is Katie Room from periapsispress.com, and I'm on Twitter as @RedHedgeDragon. That's like hedgehog, except it's hedge dragon.
And how can they connect with you if they would like to connect with you to share some stories?
I have a author services tab on my website. If you go there and you fill out the contact me, you can just say that you're looking for a review and leave me a blurb, and I'll respond. My YouTube is Periapsis Press. We do late night streams on Mondays.
And she just got to 105 subscribers.
Wow. Thank you guys so much. And then
you guys better
Well
watch.
done,
You
chat.
better not sub and dip. You guys better watch because I will hunt you down. Because I hate people that sub and dip. You better watch.
And then I would just encourage people to review books that you've read, indie or otherwise. It really does help readers. So
please do.
People always harp on how much that helps with the algorithm and stuff like that for like indie authors and stuff. And I'm just like, as a reader, it really helps me decide whether or not I'm going to write, whether I'm going to read, especially if I'm going to be putting down money on stuff that I want to make sure that it's going to be something that I enjoy. And that's how you can help both other readers and authors. So, yeah, I mean, and I always say, you don't have to write reviews like I do. You just say it was good. That's plenty.
Oh, Maxie Big, the Talking Pulp Press. Subscribed.
Thank you.
Attaboy, Rob.
Hey, you know what I should do? I just hit the sub button. That didn't happen. Mr. Daniel P. Riley. Outside of getting over the plague that is currently destroying you, what are you working on, and where can people find you?
Well, I'm not working on Chronicler's prompts anymore, so you won't be seeing me posting stuff on Iron Age Media for a while, other than articles.
Lately.
Yeah, other than articles when Richard like pushes me into the corner and beats me with a hammer for a while until I pony them up.
I don't want to hear what you do on the weekends
to do stealth promotional articles.
You guys are talking
I'm
about
terrible at that.
touching each other with phallic objects and all that. Good sirs, this is a family-friendly show. Sorry,
nobody needs to hear about your weird fantasies, Roy.
You're the one talking about hammers and Richard. That's all I'm.
Yeah. Anyways, the book Legacy of Heroes. It's on Amazon. It's in Barnes and Noble. The other one is Richard's holding up. G said I have mine over here too. Also available anywhere books are sold. And since I didn't get a chance to answer it earlier, I'll take 5 seconds to show you guys this little beauty.
Please hold it up for long enough to me actually. There we go.
There we go.
There you go.
Do you want to just say the author? I can't read it.
Huh?
Do you want to just say the author? I can't read it.
Yeah, it's her name's Samantha Verba. She goes by Miss Sam V on Twitter. The book is called Can't Wait to Be Dead. It's a very interesting take on vampires. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's been taking me a while to get through. I'm about halfway there, as you can see from the toe tag that she provided me. Oh, I'm serious. She toe tagged.
Nice touch.
It's awesome.
Have you guys found magnetic bookmarks?
I have seen them.
These are incredible. Because they don't sell regular bookmarks at Walmart anymore. And I asked my wife for them. These things are amazing. I love them.
Are they
good?
Are
fancy.
That's awesome.
I guess they're only like a couple of dollars for like a 6-pack. And literally it's just this little thing, and it just clips.
Oh, neat.
I mean, it's pointed. So literally, like when I'm like, oh crap, I have to stop. Yeah, it's fantastic because something is always getting destroyed, and I have to put my book away to go.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
What's on fire?
Yeah, eventually I plan to have Miss Verba on for a interview once I finish through Can't Wait to Be Dead, and I'll put that up on my whimsical playlist on YouTube eventually when I get there. Way too many things going on. Still working on the Tales of Halcyon Reforge, which I put those 2 pictures up that my daughter did of 2 of the characters from the trilogy as some new stuff. I've got the great Scott himself, Ian, working on some artwork for me. Nice. A lot of cool things coming together.
Good deal. All right. And last but most certainly not least, and thank you for carrying the show, good sir. Iron, also known as Richard. What are you wearing? Sorry, I think of Tommy Boy. It is literally the thing that helps me remember your name.
I was gonna say my best buddy. He always if he doesn't do that at least once whenever I see him, I know that he's been replaced by a body snatcher or something like that. So
I'm so sorry. You have probably heard that so many times throughout your life.
Not as many as you might think. At least not recently.
Oh,
Richard. Now that I'm an adult, there's fewer people saying that. But I'm glad that you're here to remind me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Takes me back.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Well, that both hurt and made me laugh.
There's a lot of wind up for that one too. That was really
man.
good.
Boy, I actually felt that one. What are you working on, good sir? Outside of beating me up on my own stream.
I was going to say, when I'm not being rude to Royce on his own stream,
it's our stream. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Well, on his own channel at least.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm working on Iron Age Media, and I've been updating the site. The prompts page has been reworked, and actually, if I could persuade you to bring up the October voting, I don't know if we can swing that.
How do I get there?
Should have been prepared. There we go.
You mean prompts if I go to
page?
Prompts copy,
and then if you scroll down, it's October voting. But that's
you're
probably
asking
the big
a
thing
lot of me right now.
Yeah, sorry. That's okay. If you go to prompts page, the most recent prompts will be there. On the main page, we have the latest articles as well as recent prompts. But the October, there we go. Thank you so much, Royce. I'm sorry that I mistreat you.
No, you're not. Don't lie to me.
Well, I feel a little bit of guilt afterwards, like a slight pang, and then I go back to my own
like a mild tooth irritation.
Yeah, exactly. I go back to reveling in my own glory.
There you go.
No, but if you guys have some time over the next week, there is a collection of. There's actually 4 collections of prompts, and I tried to make the prompts a little bit more themed this time for October. There are 25 short stories there. I've been reading through them about 2/3 of the way through, and there's many fantastic stories there, and I would encourage everybody to go take a look at them and vote. You can pick 2. And also tomorrow I'm going to be setting up voting on the locals page for Iron Age Media, and I'll tweet out where you can find that and have a link on the site there as well.
And
run a second voting.
Haven't shilled your locals page.
I know.
I see
I've not been shilling because I haven't actually been providing any content there that's unique. So
I literally use my locals page as YouTube notifications.
Yeah, I know.
I also, you're in my Gilded. You can shill. You're actually like, because you guys are my co-hosts. You are some of the few people who can actually shill in my Gilded. Katie, don't join my Gilded. You will get swarmed. But don't do it.
I was going to say, Trippy. I think Trippy Soul has shilled my Gilded numerous times, so that's he's doing my job for me. So I shout out to him.
No,
yeah, Black Knight's been talking us up too, which is really nice.
Yes.
I don't know how the fantastic community of people organized in like my Gilded, but some of the conversations that happen in my Gilded go from just funny kid stuff to radically deeply philosophic, and you're just like, wait a minute, how do we go from a Power Rangers meme to this? Mm-hmm. And it's amazing, and I love my Gilded. It's absolutely fantastic. James Craig says, warning her away from us, make it hard for me to send her books, Royce. Sir, I don't want her to be the popular girl in the nerd room, okay?
But I was going to say to before we go on the prompts, I was going to say we've got several people who are watching right now who have submitted prompts, including Daniel, obviously, and Sword Rush.
Horde people vote twice.
Yes, there you go.
Oh, got that Chicago voting going. Love it.
As well as I don't know if he's still here, but I saw him earlier. Raul Nyanzi. I believe I'm saying that correctly.
He's doing some good stuff. Yep. Raul Nyanzi. Yep. He's doing some great stuff.
Devaney Wilson also. And I think I saw River Otter in the chat at one point in time. But if I missed anybody...
Was River Otter here?
I thought so. I was not
totally
doing a good job
that.
paying attention to chat tonight. So I forget. Please forgive me if I missed anybody else. But there's a lot of folks who are here who are not only chatting, but are contributing. And so go out there, give them a read. And a lot of them are doing it through Substack. So give them a like and just I encourage everybody to kind of lift each other up with the Iron Age as best you can. So
absolutely.
Well said.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are here, thank you so much for joining Iron Age Nights number 4. Well, this has been A Drink with Crazy. My name has been Royce, although it might change tomorrow. It depends on how I identify and whatever the hell the political elite tell me that I can do. However, if you guys would like to see more of the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you guys want to come and hang out tomorrow night around about 7 p.m. Central Time, going live a little bit earlier than I normally do, we'll be going live with an Iron Age creator who decided he was tired of the way that Wizards of the Coast has been treating Dungeons and Dragons with the political narratives that they've been doing. And so he decided to do his own version and his own skew on how D&D is done. So don't forget to join us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Time on this channel. Also, never forget that at 11 a.m. on Sundays, I always do Sunday Coffee. Sunday Coffee is where I come in and I read all of the comments that have that have been put on all of my videos and live streams throughout the week, because I feel like if you guys are going to dedicate time to me, it is my responsibility to dedicate some time to you and not just say that I'm doing, but physically show that I'm actually dedicating that time. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here. Go to ironage.media. Go and follow Whimsyland, right? I got that right. Because I keep wanting to say whimsical, and it's not. And I've said it wrong before.
That's actually the name of the video program.
Oh, there you go. And then never forget that our very special guest, Katie Room, came here, and she is from Periapsis Press. You need to go follow her and see all the reviews that she's doing. Don't swarm her. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Wait till the swarm leaves, then be that guy. And never forget, guys, the Iron Age is a movement where we hammer it all out. And if I do this correctly, we'll cue the music. And then don't forget to hang out backstage, guys. And we will say our goodbyes here in just a moment.
We're going to get to babble through the music again.
We can battle through the music. I don't care. We can do that. What do you guys think? Want to battle through the music?
I like to dance off camera so nobody has to see me.
There you go.
They almost saw you.
Almost.
We need to... I was going to say, we need to just get Katie to contribute here as well. You got to offer some last minute wisdom.
See?
Leave reviews.
Yeah.
Leave reviews.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go. And that is how we do. I thought I messed up horribly the first time that I did this. Everybody was like, no, we love it. You played the music, and then we just sit here and BS. It's like the chat doesn't see us.
Nope.
It's
they
great.
can hear us.
No.
Maybe this could be an entire podcast this way.
We could literally do an entire show like this.
Just talking over music.
Just behind
give
the
the club experience where we all just kind of shout over each other.
If you
Hey,
want.
how are you?
Huh?
Huh?
I can't hear you. Here's my phone number. What's that? A phone number. What's that? You mean, wait, do you mean Snapchat? Oh, crap. That's right. The kids are into that now. Oh, God.
I count as the boomer around here, so I'll just go.
I am the
Kids
oldest.
these days.
I am the youngest.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. That was my coffee cup tonight. It's fantastic.
True, it was.
Who is JV and why does he want us to buy Saturn? I saw him asking about the Saturn ions.
I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, and we will see you next week on Iron Age Nights.
Good night.